Literary Essay Lesson 8. Today we are going to be revisiting how we write body paragraphs in a literary essay, and then you're going to go back and work on drafting them or work on editing them depending on how much you got done when we talked about writing body paragraphs using the correct format in lesson 5. So our learning target for today is I can draft the body paragraphs of my literary essay. So we're going to revisit your outline that you already created. Use your outline to draft the paragraphs to prove your reason. So in your outline, you should have had your reason, and then you should have had your examples that supported that reason, and you might have already put them in paragraph form. That's perfectly fine. But we're going to revisit those ideas that you already came up with. Remember that each paragraph should start with a topic sentence. It needs 2 to 3 example sentences, and it needs to end with a closing sentence. So that is the TEEEC format. Also remember that authors use transition words and phrases to connect their ideas and make their writing flow smoothly. And lastly, remember to use your mentor text for ideas and inspiration. So if you're stuck, go back to lesson 2 and look at those mentor texts for help. We have a new vocabulary term for today, and that term is body paragraph. So a body paragraph is going to be the middle paragraph or paragraphs of an essay that provide evidence to support a claim. And each one of your body paragraphs needs to contain a topic sentence, example sentences, and a closing sentence. So here is an example outline. So in my outline, you can see that my first bullet point is my reason. And my reason is Hazel looks after her brother Raymond. And remember that your reasons need to support your claim, which is a part of your thesis, which is telling us the theme of the story. So this is one reason that I came up with that supports my claim or my theme that I chose. So Hazel looks after her brother Raymond. I then have 3 examples that are going to help prove that. So the first one I have is a quote that says, "All I have to do in life is mind my brother Raymond, which is enough." My second bullet point says, "She looks after her brother even when training for the race." And my third bullet point says, "She takes her brother to a race so that he can watch her run." So I have my reason, and then I have my examples, and this is a great outline. So now that I have my outline done with my reason and my examples, I can now write my body paragraph. So here is the example paragraph that I came up with. Throughout the story, Raymond's Run, we see how Hazel is constantly looking after her brother Raymond. At the beginning of the story, Hazel says, "All I have to do in life is mind my brother Raymond, which is enough." Right from the beginning of the story, we learn that it is her job to watch her brother. We also learn that Hazel loves to run, but she has to watch her brother. Therefore, Hazel takes her brother with her. This allows her to train for her upcoming race as well as look after Raymond. Lastly, Hazel takes Raymond with her to the race. While Hazel is looking after Raymond, he also gets to see her run in the May Day race. It is Hazel's job to watch her brother, but she does not let that stop her from running. So in my example paragraph, I have my topic sentence, I have my examples, and then I have my closing sentence. I've also added just a little bit by explaining the examples a little better. Like after my quote, "All I have to do in life is mind my brother Raymond, which is enough," I say, right from the beginning of the story, we learn that it is her job to watch her brother. That explains the quote. Yes, I could have just put in a topic sentence and then threw in my examples and then threw in a closing sentence, but when you explain your examples, it's going to help the reader understand. So if I would have just said, all I have to do in life is mind my brother Raymond, which is enough, and then I jumped into my next point, which is we also learned that Hazel loves to run, but she has to watch her brother. I'm a little confused by that, and I read this story. So don't just throw in your examples. Also explain your examples. So as you can see in the pink at the top, that is my topic sentence. Throughout the story, Raymond's Run, we see how Hazel is constantly looking after her brother Raymond. So I took that reason and I just made a sentence out of it so it flew a little smoother. And in the blue, you can see I have my example sentences. So I have the examples I came up with in my outline, and then I have my sentences after them that explain that example just a little bit better. And I've also used transition words like therefore and lastly. Make sure we use those because it helps your writing flow smoothly and it helps the reader read your paper because it's going to make it a little easier to read when things flow smoothly. Readers have a better time of reading it, which means they will have a better time of understanding what you are trying to say. And lastly, in green at the bottom, you can see my closing sentence. It is Hazel's job to watch her brother, but she does not let that stop her from running. So I've kind of tied up this entire paragraph. By this sentence, you know that this sums up that paragraph very well. It still is connecting with the fact that she has to watch her brother, but it also connects with the fact that she loves to run. And that's kind of an overlying theme as well throughout this paper. It's not the theme that I made in my thesis, but running is a big part of this story. So this connects everything together. And before I read off your exit ticket questions for today, your job is to go into Google Classroom. I want you to start typing your 2 to 3 body paragraphs depending on how many reasons you came up with. I wanted you to come up with at least 2 reasons. If you came up with 3, that's great, but I want at least 2, so you should have at least 2 body paragraphs. Okay? Okay, and then for those of you that are actually watching this video, you can just use this paragraph. So that's already 1 paragraph done for you. So now all you have to do is come up with another paragraph. Alright, let's move on to your exit ticket questions. Your exit ticket questions for today's lesson are: question 1, why is it important to use the proper format when writing a body paragraph? And question 2, why is it important to not only give reasons and examples, but also explain them?